All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Couch Code. This is episode 5 of Couch Code. It's been great coming your way in the last 4 episodes, and we hope you've enjoyed yourself with all the analysis we are bringing to you in the world of football. Remember, anytime you come your way is by the kind courtesy of DStv. They have got all the football you want, so you know what to do. Just dial *759# and follow the prompt. Every football you need is with DStv. So remember to get your decoder, get your installer, let them install for you. If you've not paid or if you've not recharged, please go through the short code I just gave to you so you can enjoy every football you want on DStv. Today, I'm here with my guys. Same set. I've repeated the same set. So I'm here with Zoo and also Sedinam Edmond also here today with me. Guys, you're welcome once again to Couch Coach.
Thank you.
Great to have you. Great to have you. The last time we were here, we spoke about the Ballon d'Or. Now, ever since Rodri won the Ballon d'Or, things have been happening to Manchester City. Whatever has been happening to them, I don't know if it's the gods or whatever, but they've gone 4 games without winning. 4 games. The first time that's happened to Pep Guardiola.
Actually, 4 losses.
4 losses in a row. 4 losses. 4 L's in a row. Charlie, we'll come back and we'll discuss everything with regards to that. The Premier League, the Champions League, and the Black Stars. The list is out. But there is a guy who didn't make the list, and the coach spoke about that. We'll be discussing all of that here on Couch Code. My name is Kwame. I'm here with Zoo and Sedina. We'll make a quick turnaround. When we come back, we'll delve into all the issues.
75 days since the last day of last season. We are ready to do it all again.
Phil Foden is having the season of his life. Brilliant! Just brilliant! That is quite something!
Watch all the Premier League, La Liga, and Serie A games on DStv Compact for only 300 CDs a month.
All right, guys, thank you very much. Welcome back to Couch Code. Remember to subscribe to the channel on DStv. As you can see, remember to hit the subscribe button. Remember to leave your comments and then like the videos as well. So let me get to the guys. Let's delve straight into the issues. We'll start with Pep. Something very, it's a territory I'm sure he's not found himself in. And this international break, I think, has come at the right time for him because everything seemed not to be going well for them. Let me give you an example. Now, in the last 2 games that they've played against Sporting and against Brighton, they scored the first goal. So for a team to come from behind to beat them 4-1 and another team to beat them 2-1, that is quite uncharacteristic of a Pep Guardiola team. But I want to ask my guys, how much of it is down to the absence of Rodri, or is everything down to the absence of Rodri? I'll start with Zoo. Zoo, very interesting situation for Pep Guardiola. I mean, he said it's there's a chance where things happen for the first time. There's a first time to everything, but it looks very uncharacteristic.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, I believe it's almost 90% down to the absence of Rodri. When you take a Ballon d'Or winner out of a side, you feel his absence. And I think now they're really feeling it because I saw a stats that said, I think in the last about 60 games, City lost maybe 2 or 3 games while Rodri was playing. But now, since he's been injured, they've lost 7 and 13. Wow. So the difference is significant. But aside from Rodri, so they have other injuries. They've been going through a very rough period with their injuries. And I mean, any top side, if you take away some of their best players, they will suffer. They're having to put in a lot of young players, kids who have never really shown, what they can do on that level. And interestingly enough, we've seen Vinicius take his game to another level since he was snubbed. Let's say he was snubbed at the Ballon d'Or.
Correct. Yes, he's got like 4 goals ever since.
Yeah, he's gone on a different level. It's very interesting to see. But for me, this is just validation that Rodri deserved the Ballon d'Or, and I don't, as an Arsenal fan, long may it continue to give myself a better chance of winning. But it's very interesting to see, and I'm curious to see how Pep and City respond to this setback.
He said he's an Arsenal fan. And do you know the gap between Arsenal and
Why? Don't worry, too close.
even Liverpool fans are not saying they are happy about the situation.
Don't worry.
Arsenal fans are far behind.
Don't worry.
Far behind.
It's only 10
With
games.
the
Don't worry.
current win probability of is it under 2%
Don't
of
worry.
winning the league? Currently is under
We've only done
2%.
10 games. There's a long way to go.
11
only
games.
10, no.
11 games
11,
so far.
sorry.
Yeah.
So we've played a fourth of the league,
Yeah.
and Chelsea is on top of you.
We have
Anyway,
3 quarters to go. Don't worry.
You said it. Let's get to the City situation. I mean, like I've said, quite uncharacteristic of Man City having to go through a patch. I was having a chat with a friend, and he was like, every team will go through that patch. I mean, a period where there's a slump and where things seem not to be going well. But what is really happening to Manchester City aside Rodri? Or are you also of the school of thought that everything is based on the fact that Rodri is absent?
Partly, but aside Rodri, there are a lot of other huge things that are happening in that team. Partly because how Manchester City set up is based on him being that lone pivot man there and allowing an overload of attacking talent for City.
Okay.
And that attacking talent, when they get their day, just let the whistle go. One of them would have a terrific game. One would have an off game. Another would have a good game. Another will have an average game. When you blend all this together, you would get a good attack from City each and every time. So you play 4-1. Sometimes you play a 4-1-4-1.
Yeah.
So you get one person dropping from defense to join Rodri. Now, with the attacking talent, they are still in place. But now the one there, Rodri is not just a player who gives them a lot going forward. He was giving them much more in defense.
Okay.
He was helping them cut those balls. It was difficult to just glide past Rodri. It was that difficult. But you look at Kovacic. Kovacic is a different profile of a player, trying to suit himself in that role. And that's one thing that's causing them to actually concede goals, which is not characteristic. Did I say characteristic? It is not.
It is allowed.
It's it is very much not like a Pep team.
Yeah.
However, there are other things. Pep is experimenting a little too much.
Isn't that characteristic?
It is, but he had room and liberty to do that because there were certain cogs in place. Now, without those cogs, you don't go on experimenting. You see, without your spine, you don't go try a flip.
Okay.
How would you flip without your spine? So he needs to, as much as possible, keep things lean and really, really straightforward. Double people in midfield. Instead of playing one person, now you reduce the attacking talent and add one more body in midfield. Go back. Now we see a lot of teams creating boxes in midfield. You started it in the EPL. Go back and then let's have a double pivot. Have your defenders and then let's build it from there. And I think Pep would be fine. However, with this level of experimentation, it brings about different things. And aside Rodri, a lot of people are injured.
Yep.
Doku, you expect to bring some trickery. He's out.
Yeah.
Even Jack Grealish, who
Because
would delay the football.
I'm actually surprised at having to play a player like Mateus Nunes on the left because yesterday in the game he was played on the left, and they seem to ignore that and are heavily centering all the attacks to Savio because he's a natural winger. So it sort of brings some sort of distortion in the attack where they have to sometimes switch. They are always moving to Savio, and if it doesn't work at Savio's end, nobody seems to think that it will work at Nunes's end. And
because Nunes himself has been a pale shadow since joining, and I feel he has gotten the opportunity a lot of players who have played under Pep would wish for. The opportunity to be given that ample room to try yourself in different positions. He's getting that. Other people did not get it because of the injuries, and I feel if he was a much potent attacker, it would have been simple. You maybe put Foden on the other side, put Savinho on the other, and put him in the hole. But he will not flourish.
Correct.
You bring him back, he does not flourish.
so he's having
Like
keep him somewhere on the pitch just to do something.
No,
for the
he's
team.
adding up to the numbers on the pitch.
Yeah.
That's what he's currently
Because there has to be
Basically.
11, so
Exactly.
just
One
put him
player
inside.
has to be there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's it with Manchester City. It seemed not to be picking and picky. But I have one word for a certain young gentleman. Stay humble, eh? Stay
my
humble.
God.
Stay
No,
humble,
but he
eh?
has scored. No.
Oh, no.
Yes,
He's
But
staying
he's
humble.
not
But
staying
I'm
humble.
just telling him. Stay
No,
humble,
he
eh?
is humble.
I'm telling the team. Stay
We
humble.
will not take it.
So listen, he has been staying humble, not scoring goals, but he's still the top scorer.
But stay humble.
That's the
Still
level
stay
to him.
humble.
He's
Eh,
staying
I
humble.
mean,
But the
we
team,
will
we're talking
see.
about the team. So stay humble, eh?
Yeah, we'll see.
Stay
He's
humble.
staying humble.
I want them to insert that video. Stay humble, eh?
Stay humble.
But
Okay.
he's staying humble.
Stay humble, eh? This is too much. Yeah, stay humble, eh?
Anyway, that's it with Manchester City. Let's move on to other things. Very soon, Ruben Amorim will be taking over at Manchester United. But in his stead, in that between the moment Ten Hag left and Amorim coming to take over, there's been Ruud van Nistelrooy, a club legend who has taken over, who has overseen the club in the last 3 games where United have won 2, drawn 1, played just one league game. He's played in 3 competitions, qualified to the Carabao Cup next round, played and given United the first win in Europe in over 380 days. 380 days, yes, you heard right. United have won in Europe for the first time in 380 days, and then played 1-1 against Chelsea. He'll be playing against Leicester. That will be the match that he will be parting ways with the club. But guys, let's assess Ruud. For me, there's been a lot of conversations whether to stay or whether to leave. I have my opinion, but I want to hear from you guys. If you are Amorim and you're coming in, are you keeping Ruud van Nistelrooy around? Are you going to give him the opportunity? Zoo, what's your thoughts on that?
Sack him. If it was me, like, because listen, the guy wants your job.
Yeah.
I don't think it's wise to keep somebody who wants your job on your team.
I 100% agree.
Like, I personally, I wouldn't do that because I know that if I slack small, if I'm shaky, your eye is wide and you're looking at my job. So personally, I would just get rid of him, bring my whole team from Sporting, the people I work with, the people I've worked with before, who I'm comfortable with. We've created magic in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
100%, I'm bringing all my guys with me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to put Ruud. I mean, I'm not saying Ruud had anything to do with Ten Hag sacking, but
yes.
the noise was there throughout the whole season that if Ten Hag, if he flops, if they sack him, Ruud is next, Ruud is ready. Did you see when Ruud did this? Ruud was squeezing his face on the bench. It means that he wasn't happy with Ten Hag. Like all sorts of unnecessary noise. You know what I mean? So honestly, Amorim, if he knows what's good for him, he should tell Ineos that please. I respect this guy, but no,
The club
please,
legend,
he
big
cannot
man,
be on my
He
team.
can't be on my team.
It can't work that way.
Anyway, before we go back to the root thing, but how would you assess his tenure so far? I mean, having to steer. For me, as a United fan, I've had my concerns and the fact that a lot hasn't changed. But some people there are different schools of argument. Some saying that the time was short for him to make any changes. Others were like, at least let us know you were a coach. Throw in some new creative ways, and then even though you are getting results, it looks as if the play has always been the same. But what do you make of the argument?
Same as Ten Hag. It's basically the same.
Yeah, the same. I know he's the same, but what do you make of?
No, for me, I feel he should go somewhere else and prove himself. We can't judge him on this.
Yeah.
This should not even be part of judging Ruud. He just basically came through and is finishing off the Ten Hag era. He has not done anything personally of himself. The only thing I'll say he has been doing in the past couple of games is playing certain players in their own positions. That's all. Aside that, he has not done anything to to get any form of applause. I'll clap for what he did back in the Netherlands. And this one, I'll give him a thumbs down. Reason being, you were part of it. You were part of it. So how come your boss is not there and all of a sudden you are trying to prove to us that you are better than your boss?
It reminds me of somebody, but let's not go there.
You get me? So it's basically, for me, he's really done nothing. And if you look at how his teams actually play, that's not how Manchester United is playing. This Manchester United team cannot play in a mid-block situation. They try it. They'll take 5.
That's according to Sendram. So that's Ruud van Nistelrooy. So But I mean, by way of my personal take, I think he should go. I think the personality is too huge and sort of overshadows, because Amorim is a young coach.
Yeah.
Barely 40. Rude is like 48. Yeah, you think a Ghanaian culture. I'm speaking from the perspective of a Ghanaian culture, and he's older. And no, but this is I'm thinking of the personality of Rude and the amount of respect that he's gotten from the fans. Everywhere he goes, there is always Rude all over, and it sort of overshadows what the coach would want to do and everything. And I feel if I'm Rude, because he's been making a lot of campaigns that he wants to stay, he has a 2-year contract, sort of putting pressure on whoever is going to make the decision that he wants to help. That's the key phrase. I want to help. I want to help. I want to help. But sometimes I think certain decisions have to be made, and Rude have to move on. Go and work hard somewhere. Maybe when he works and is able to achieve a few things like other coaches have achieved, he would have a big shot at working at United again as the head coach. So that's my thoughts on Ruud van Nistelrooy.
But quickly on Ruud, sorry to cut in. Listen, different systems. You can't work in the system. How does Ruud like to set up his team? How does Amorim set up his team?
To help
No.
in any capacity.
How can you
He's a
help?
coach. Maybe
No.
he can help.
He can be like a striker coach or something. I mean,
Yeah.
there's roles he
Striker
can
coach. When he was the striker coach under Ten Hag, how misfiring were they?
Maybe
How
he
many
wasn't-
goals did they score in the league?
He wasn't
Was
a
it
striker coach.
He was a coach. He said
He was just an assistant coach. Yeah.
assistant coach, and he was constantly talking to the strikers during training, and they were putting out this performance.
Well, you never know. Let's see how it goes. Anyway, so let's move on to the man, Arne Slot. You see, we were having, before we started recording, we were having a very interesting conversation about the Liverpool, and the Liverpool fans don't come at us, but we know you are playing well, but some of your games have been too close, and it looks as if there's some key element of luck sort of going your way. But I want to ask my guys if they are on the same wavelength as I am. I feel Slot has been amazing. I mean, the way he's managed the team, the calm composure. You see his personality on the team, the way he is, the way he handles things. But Zoo, that school of thoughts that feels that Liverpool seem to have some bits of luck, because you watch a lot of the games and it's been so close where you feel the teams should score and then put Liverpool under pressure, and they're not even conceding. What's really happening?
I mean, first of all credits to Liverpool. They are playing well.
Yeah.
Slot has done an amazing job. The players have stepped up.
Yeah.
But yes, honestly, like, beyond Liverpool, luck is a thing in football.
Correct.
Everybody has. Man City won 4 Premier League titles in a row. There was a lot of luck involved. It comes in at certain phases. And their teams were also unlucky. And because of their unluckiness, I'll give you a cool example. Chelsea were going into the Europa League last season. Unluckily, United won the FA Cup, and now Chelsea have
Played
played teams that I've never heard of before.
No.
No, I said no. Hey, the Bible now we play for Conference League. So yeah, I mean, luck is a big thing in football, and so far this season, Liverpool have been lucky. They've been lucky with injuries as well.
Yeah.
They've had key players available when other teams are struggling to even
And
get.
Salah is on fire.
Salah, I mean, Salah. I think he's a constant. Salah,
Yeah.
you know, last season was an anomaly after the AFCON, but his whole
And
Liverpool
even that
tenure,
he came back and scored a lot of goals.
yeah, his whole Liverpool tenure, he's been on fire. But it begs the question now: if Klopp had stayed, would they still be,
That's a
enjoying
very
this
interesting one.
amount of success, or has Slot done something so amazing that Klopp would not be able to replicate? So yeah, but I think you guys, it's fine. Everybody gets lucky sometimes. At the end of the day, they're not going to write asterisks beside the trophy, the trophy that you won. So if you're lucky, just take it like that.
Yeah. Sadie, what's your thoughts on the Liverpool form? I mean, Slot, it should be like 16 wins out of. They've just lost twice.
Yeah.
Or once.
They've lost once and drawn
That's
once.
Nottingham Forest, and then
Nottingham
drawn once against Arsenal.
Yeah.
And they've won everything.
Yeah.
I feel Slot has really just dialed down, not dialed up, what Klopp was doing. And in as much as it's the same set of players, there's some tweak that he has done to the midfield, and that's really helping them. He normally lines up in a 4-2-3-1. Klopp was lining up in a 4-3-3. We're playing gang-ho. We are full pressing. We don't know when to stop. We don't understand stop. But now
So
we
it was
have
always
Slot.
chaotic.
That's it.
You attack, I attack, you attack, I attack. And because they are efficient, bam, bam, bam.
Who scores more
Exactly,
wins.
wins.
That was the order of the day.
Yeah.
But however, now in this case, he's come from a point where, okay, let's play this way. Let's try and control possession, and then we'll win a game. Let's try and cede possession to another team, and then we win a game. Let's try and hit teams on the counter, and then we'll win a game. So they are mixing it all up, but the element of luck is really huge. Against Aston Villa, it could have gone sideways.
Correct.
It could have ended 3-1 in favor of Aston Villa. Penalty shout. Did not happen. That's a penalty all day, every day.
Correct. The Oli Watkins one. And David Coote ended up giving a foul against Oli Watkins.
Why not a yellow card? Then that means it's a dive.
Exactly. Maybe he thought Oli Watkins kicked Konate.
It's still a foul.
But that's a very strange decision, trust me.
And then you have Kelleher, who is stepping into the shoes of Alisson. Kelleher, in my view, is the best second choice goalkeeper in the world.
I agree.
In the world. And Chelsea do not like playing against him.
He will always pull the saves of his life in those games.
Constantly. So you have a really good goalkeeper.
Yeah.
He comes in for an injured goalkeeper. How many teams in the EPL can count on that? How many teams in the EPL can count on the second choice goalkeeper standing up for them?
Closely as good as the first choice goalkeeper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You've got a right back debutant who changes the way Liverpool plays, but he's still really good.
That's Conor Bradley.
Solid.
Yeah.
So for me, the element of luck is really telling on this team.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot to be done on this team. There's some form of exposure that can be done on this Liverpool team. There are holes in this team that can be picked and will be picked. I've never seen Slot animated till that Chelsea game.
Yeah, where he wanted to go and confront the referee.
I think the biggest hole in Liverpool is that striker.
Darwin Núñez.
Hey, what a guy.
Charlie, the guy had two opportunities
Oh my
from the
gosh.
counter.
Oh
He
my
scored
God.
one, and the one that looked like
It was easier.
it was the easier one to score. He blasted the ball
Closer
wide.
yeah.
to
And
But
the position
even,
was-
even on the chance that he scored, I'll give Liverpool fans some. I'll back you small in this one. In a way, Villa too were lucky because
Yes.
Bailey could have had a red card.
he should have.
He should have. I mean, I think after they scored, it's
let's have the short debate. I mean, the ball kept going and then he
Yeah.
scored. Do you still come back to give a red
no,
card?
I don't think you can
So
do that.
okay, so he scored.
Yes.
So hence you think it's not a red card, but if he had not scored, the
But
ball would have been brought back.
Of course,
yes.
the referee could have taken back because I'm sure maybe the referee played an advantage.
Advantage, yeah.
Because that would be double jeopardy. I mean, the person has scored and you are going back to give red
That's
card.
too much.
But that's a foul that led to it.
But
He was the
still
last
the player
man.
had gone ahead to score. But what do you think? You can leave it in the comment section for us
It's a
so
red
we can
card.
we can all hear your thoughts on this particular situation. Remember, DStv, GoTV, the Premier League is on GoTV as well. GoTV has everything. The Super Plus bouquet or the Super Plus one has everything that you need in terms of the Premier League. So you can get your GoTV if you know you can't go with DStv. So you can watch all the 380 games on your GoTV Super Plus bouquet. All right, let's switch it up a lot more and let's talk about the Champions League. And it was quite an interesting weekend or week in the Champions League where Real Madrid, after losing 4-0 to Barcelona, came into the Champions League and then lost 2-1. Was it 3-1? 3-1.
Yeah.
To the second best team in the Champions League in terms of teams that have annexed it the most. Real Madrid have 15. They play, and between the two of them, they have 22 Champions League titles. So it wasn't more of European heritage on display on that night because Real are having a lot of problems.
No. It wasn't heritage. It was the problems is like you just mentioned. The injuries.
Yeah.
Them struggling to fit Mbappe into the side. I think those are the things that cost them on that night. And I think AC Milan too were just, they did their thing. I was very surprised. I didn't expect them to win because they're actually very similar in my eyes. Two teams, great history, but this season they're having it a little difficult. Shout out to Morata. Apparently that was his 7th goal against Real Madrid in 13 games.
And that's his, if you know Morata's history, that's his club.
That's his club. That's where he came from. So to have somebody, one of your own, to punish you back to back like this it's not a joke. He seems to get fired up when he plays against Real Madrid. So Madrid they have a lot of problems. They faced Osasuna after that in La Liga, whipped them. Vinicius was on fire, but it's in the big games they don't seem to be able to step up to the level that is required of them. So they have a lot of problems. Once again, even against Osasuna, Mbappe was a non-entity, just running all over the place, offside. I don't even know what's going on with him. So, let's see what happens in the Champions League next time.
So Real Madrid going through a lot, but I wouldn't bring Real Madrid to you. I'll bring you Amorim and the kind of exploits they did. He seemed to have tried to water down the whole situation. There was a Spartan game, home game against for Sporting, and looking at the way they turned the game around, they were down, they started pulling. It's a game I felt City could have won in the first 30 minutes because I felt they had a lot of moments, had a lot of control. By the moment the game turned, Sporting equalized in second half, bang, 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 4-1. Jokers. What do you make of that game and events that happened in that game?
Well, for me, it was, as a student of the game, it was a tactical masterclass. Two tacticians going at it, one person wanting to play the high line and then being just schooled by pace. You want to play the high line, you need certain qualities in players to play the high line. And all the qualities were not available on the night. And I feel Amorim just marshaled his guys, kept to his system, played his system, squeezed the middle of the pack. Trust me, if City had a Rodri in that game, a fit Kelvin De Bruyne in that game, they would have washed Sporting out of the face of the earth. Because of how Sporting set up. Sporting set up in a way that there's a lot of holes on the pitch around the center. They try to block the center and make it congested as much as possible, and it looks like now that's the best way to beat City.
More numbers.
You need more numbers in midfield.
Yes,
that's and I feel Amorim just got a number on him, but I feel maybe in December when they meet again on the 15th of December.
But that will be a different team, a team that.
It will be
a team that a team that is also having its own problems. We'll see how Amorim comes and then turns around things at Man United as to whether it will work. I know there will be a response from the players because they seem to respond very well to new coaches, and then what happens after that is what we don't know. But we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. So let's talk about Arsenal, another team that seemed to be having a lot of talk about their change in approach or somewhat change in approach. The last time I was saying that if it's not Saka magic or a set piece, Arsenal are finding it very difficult to create chances and score goals. But what do you think? What's really happening to Arsenal?
I think it's another case of a team trying to cope with key injuries to key players. Namely, you all know Martin Odegaard is, he's been out. Fortunately, he's back in training. So hopefully after the international break,
just some 10 minutes of that game.
Yeah, hopefully at the end of the international break, we'll see him, starting again. So, but even in this Inter Milan game, Arsenal had a lot of chances. And we seem to go back to that problem that we had at some points last season where it seemed like they couldn't finish. And then we have this conversation, and do Arsenal need a striker? Jokeres has just scored so many goals. Everybody wants him in the Premier League. So I think Arteta is trying to change the way Arsenal play. He's looking for more control. He wants a more defensively solid team. And I think once you start to change the way you play, it doesn't come automatically. It takes time. I think they're going through that process of, evolving. Personally, as a fan, I wish we could go back to how we used to play.
Like expansive.
Yeah, quick passing. It was very beautiful to watch. But at the same time, to understand why he's changed, because that style of play, Arsenal are very vulnerable in defense. So I think, I don't know at what point you stop saying that it's early days. Yeah. But in a way, it's still early days.
We are approaching December.
We are almost reaching halfway. So it's like, I don't know when I should stop saying this. But, I believe once Odegaard is back, and firing, I think things will be a lot better for Arsenal. So let's see.
We'll see how it goes with Arsenal, whether it's haram ball or whatever people decide to call it. Arteta and his Arsenal team seem to be going through it as well. So we'll see. Let's talk about the Black Stars. And before, let me chip in this on Mohamed Kudus. The sanctions that's been added. Do you guys think it's too much given what happened?
Yeah, I expected more.
You expected
I expected more. I think he was obviously so straight red card is a 3-game ban, and they've added two more. I thought it would be more, honestly. I thought because he did something that we rarely see in football.
He was clearing all of them. This one
slapped
comes
two players.
Here you come. There was 3. This one comes, he knocks the person, now he knocks the second person, now he knocks the third person.
I think there was also a £60,000 fine.
Yes,
so yeah.
fine. Yes.
I mean, I expected more, but
more.
Well, I'm sorry for him.
He said you people messed his head up on social media. You people, you were criticizing him after the international break and saying all sorts of things about the Black Stars, and it sort of affected his he wasn't in a good place.
When you say you people, it takes my mind back to something, and I remember, and I go like, okay, Obari, please, no, not me. You see,
He says you Ghanaians, all of you. Yes.
You Ghanaians, but I'm sorry for him. I'm sorry his emotions got the better part of him, but next time he should learn to control his emotions. People have been in much more difficult circumstances and situations, so you don't let it get into your head. You know, let me start it this way. Why would you wear 20 training kits and go and play with jersey number 10? He should answer that one for himself, not me. No one can force him to wear a jersey he does not want to wear.
No, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, things do happen. I mean, psychologically, things do happen. And
so then it's not us.
Yeah.
He should blame the right people and also blame himself. The people you are trying to blame were not the ones on the pitch, clearing Van der Veen and becoming Robocop to the extent that Richarlison bumps into you and falls off and all kinds of. So for me, it's
so that's the story of Mohamed Kudus, and he's been given a 5-match ban. Already served some of them, so I'm sure he's left with about 2 or 3 games before he comes back to play for West Ham United. So that's it. Let's talk about the Black Stars. The coach Otuado made some selects. Some local players have come in to join the team. A player from Kotoko, the Sabatex player is also in there, and one player from Nations FC have also joined the call-up. And a noticeable absentee is Thomas Partey. And this explanation Otuado gave, he said that he had a chat with Partey. He explained to him. Partey wanted to come and then honor the games for the Black Stars, but Otuado told him that he should stay out, or he should sit this one out, since and they had a conversation. But there's been a lot of stories about Partey saying he was sick. He was asked to come to play for the Black Stars, come for the medical team to assess him, and said he was not fit to travel and all of that. A lot of brouhaha. But Zoo, I mean, let's look at that situation very well. For me, I was very happy with the way Otuado handled the situation. But what do you make of it?
I think I also agree with Otuado's position. You can't come and play when you want.
Yeah.
You know, if you are committed to a cause, which is qualifying Ghana to whichever competition is, you know, they are trying to qualify for, you have to be there through the good and the bad. You can't come when you feel like it, when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And I think it's a thing that's not just in Black Stars. We are seeing this in a lot of nations around the world. France and so on are having this type of issue. Mbappe as well, yes. So it's like you can't come when you feel like it. You know, we are here to achieve a goal. Either you're on board or you're not. So when today you say, I'm not feeling well, I can't come for an assessment, and then the next international break you're like, I'm ready. It's like, guys, come on. So I support Otuado in this decision here.
Sedi.
Yeah. Plenty things to say, but I'll be very snappy. Listen, we need to institute something into this Black Stars. Okay, let's make the players understand that you are playing for your nation. The same people support you where you go. So you are playing for them. We've seen instances where people have traveled from London who support West Ham to come watch Kudus here in Ghana. If you were to play for a country that's not known to have a football heritage, would you act the way you are acting? Because you will feel that now you want to start creating the heritage. here lies the case where the heritage has been created and you guys are really just messing the heritage up. And you want to do pick and choose of the games you want to play. We've had this kind of situation before. Let's not act as if this is the first
It
time.
happens, yeah.
We've had,
I
even
mean,
as a
even-
country,
yes,
we've had
yes.
it before.
Yeah.
We've had it, and we had people telling us that the pitch was not good. Actually, the pitch is not good.
Yeah.
So we've had that instance.
A lot more times, yeah.
But in as much as Partey is not going to be in the squad, we are missing another defender as well, and we are not talking about it. And
Is
that-
it Salisu?
Yes, Salisu came and Salisu got injured, and since then Salisu has not played.
Yeah.
So what example does that set for the others?
Mm-hmm.
You see, these are some of the things that some of the players will pick from, and then when they pick from it and act on their own, thinking about their personal lives as well, then we as a nation will go on their backs and then be bashing them. Sometimes I feel we should cut the players some slack. Salisu was now a mainstay in the Monaco team. He comes to play.
Injuries do happen. I mean, injuries do happen. You can't blame, because I mean you can pick up an injury. Non-contact injuries do happen along the line in football. So I'm not sure the country has.
I'm not blaming the injury on anyone. I'm
Okay.
just using it as an example.
Okay.
That's what happened to him. So you are a party. You see that you are playing for your contract. This year you are playing for your contract. And your position in the team is even under threat. Because of that, you are now being shifted to go and play right back and things. Moreno is trying to come in. He's a different profile, but they are trying to force things around so that the clan rise is not rising. And a lot of things. However, you
So
want to
he's
still
doing everything possible to.
exactly. You want
Anyway.
to keep your head down and just try and focus. For others are trying to use the national team to pick form. I'll say it. Yeah, I'll say there are some players who are trying to use the national team to also keep their form. So we should not blame Partey so much, and we would like to tell Otoado that it's a nice way of handling the situation. It's reminiscent of one particular situation, but we want to also greet everyone at the FA. They should look at themselves again.
Well, that's said enough on that. But let's end it up with the captaincy issue as well. It looks as if Otoado is not too straightforward with the situation, and I mean it's confusing a lot of people. I mean, one time it's Partey, and then Partey couldn't come. We know that the next in line usually has to do with let's see one senior player has to do with Jordan or Alexander Jiku or anyone, but the armband moves straight to Mohamed Kudus. Now the coach comes to tell us that he's speaking to Kudus and that Kudus will have to grow into that role. You begin to ask yourself, what were you thinking before that? But sometimes I understand, not that I'm holding brief for Tuado. He's also a young coach who is also trying to get role of a whole lot of things. But some of these decisions, they are very crucial given how interesting and how captaincy issues around the Black Stars can be very, 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 very troublesome. We date it back to Abedi Pele and then the Tony Baffos and then the Akwesi Appiah issue in the 1992s to the Asamoah and the Ayu issue until that was around 2019, and then all these issues happening. So the captaincy issue seems to be some very, very troublesome. In like a minute, what do you make of it before you wrap up?
Personally, I don't see why it's that deep. I think Ghana, sometimes we take some things too seriously.
Yeah.
Based on the last international break, Otoado has seen that I don't want to get into this too much because I've seen how Ghanaians can react about something simple as a shirt number.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to. I know he doesn't want to go and change who the captain is because people will find a way to blame him if things don't work out on the pitch. Modern day football, I mean, I guess traditionally the captain was like the leader and everything, but now modern day football they have leadership groups and all sorts of things. So it doesn't really matter who's wearing the band. Sometimes you have captains who are always injured, never on the pitch, but the other players are able to step up and play that role. So I think it shouldn't be that deep for us Ghanaians, but knowing Ghanaians, we also have to find something to complain about all the time. So I expect Otoado to just leave it. He's just going to dance around the issue.
Yeah.
And then maybe eventually if the day comes back, you just say, yeah, this is the captain. So
Is the day ever coming back?
we'll see. It depends on his performances at his club.
We'll see. All right, set it up.
Very simple. I'll make it one sentence. For a team that has not won anything since this captaincy role started in this team, They have not won anything,
Anything, yeah,
and they are fighting over
Still
armband,
about it.
and they are still fighting over it. They should just think about that. Do you want to win something and be remembered for winning something, or fight over captain's armband and then be forgotten?
Anyway, that said, I'm Edmond there. So that's how we draw down the curtain for today's episode of Couch Coach. We've been seated comfortably in our couch discussing everything that has to do in the world of football. My name is Kwame, and I was here with Zoo and also Sedinam Edmond. We'll see you on the next episode. But remember, DStv is why you are enjoying this. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave us a comment and a like. We'll see you on the next one. Have a great time. Bye-bye.